And we are live.
We are live.
Good afternoon and welcome to successcafe.tv. My name is Paul Bursey and
My name is Warren Connolly.
Yes, you are. The same man as last week. Welcome to everyone on Facebook Live, to those watching now and to those who watch later. Also to YouTube and our podcasts. They go everywhere. So, yeah, welcome. So today, the headline is, and I've got to read it. I've got light sticking me in the eye, so I might have to peer at it. But the new secret to getting ahead. So I suppose we'll probably start with the old one, a few of the oldies, but they're all important. And you know, so the first one that we're going to talk about is really getting started. Now, due to business that we're involved in, and getting started is very, very important. Whatever you do in life, you've got to get started. Whether you're studying for an exam, whether you're going to become a marathon runner, whether you're going to be a weightlifter, there's that period of time when you're going to get started and get what would be the word? Where you initiate, the initiation. So getting started is very, very important. And what do you feel about getting started when you have a new client to train? You being a personal trainer and all that. How do you get someone started? Do you get them started softly or how?
I kill them on the first day.
Kill them on the first day.
I kill them gently with lots of love. I do take it. I take it very, but it depends on the client as well, on the individual. But each time I get started, and I get started, you'll probably say, maybe not personal training is not really a good analogy, because we do need to start slowly with our clients, and we need to take it step by step and start to gauge and identify and observe and gauge, identify, observe, gauge, and just keep building on that. And this is the way I would take it as a personal trainer. So, in our industry, it's a bit different. We need to get started in fast, quick fashion, more like a military drill, when you need to get started quickly and fast.
Yeah.
You keep maintaining that tempo as fast as possible, whatever's comfortable for you, but also stretching out of your boundaries a little bit. Excuse my voice. So yeah, it's a bit different to what we do, but most definitely getting started is the first thing. I have to do something with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so it's all about tempo and momentum, you would say.
It is indeed, yeah.
Yeah, and slotting into how you want them to take on the training or whatever it is they're doing.
Yeah, lots of observing and feedback. So if feedback is key, and this is another factor relating to getting ahead. Okay, There's feedback. You need to give yourself feedback, you need to give others feedback, and you need to listen for feedback. So this is another part of getting started. In the beginning, right from the beginning, communication for me is one of the key factors for them to get ahead as well, as much as me to get ahead for them as their trainer. But that what I do with people, Paul, is beyond physical training. So
absolutely, yeah. I mean, with what we do, we could go right across everything.
And I do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but okay. So let's stick on the personal training bit at the moment. So we keep it on the same sort of theme.
Okay.
Is knowing your why or your outcome important to your client?
Typically, no. Because most people have forgotten to ask powerful questions. So they don't want to sound ignorant or stupid. So most clients come to me, it doesn't matter what their background is. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them, they don't really know what their why is. They think they believe that they know what their why is, but they haven't asked themselves or anybody else enough questions yet to understand what that is.
Yeah.
So I help them to see that. This is one of the things that I really get people to see what is their why.
So in the end, they'll end up knowing what the why is.
They will, yeah. And it helps,
Okay.
right? When you know what your why is, I mean, it just makes sense, because now anytime you want to make a decision, you know why you want to make that decision. So, one of our common teachers says that never do something or go into something without knowing what the outcome is going to be in advance. Yeah.
I,
So
I suppose if someone's new to everything, they're just not going to be on the same wavelength anyway, are they? It's got to feed in their brain very, very slowly and sort of seep in, and then they pick up on it. Seep in, slowly.
So what I will do with the client is I will help them to slowly integrate into the thinking of what I'm helping them to see. You understand? So it's not a matter of like, this is how we need to think now, this is what we need to do now. I help them to slowly see that and then become aware of it, and then be able to integrate that into their lives. Okay. Without bombarding people with too much information or practices or things like that.
This is it, and this is what this is. Yeah, if you don't know your why, the reason you're doing something, the strong feeling you've got inside of you, then the challenge is that you will get overwhelmed, because you'll be scattered and you'll be looking in every direction. But if at some stage, hopefully as near to the beginning as possible, if they can know what they want from what they're doing, then it focuses your vision on a few things, maybe one thing, we don't know, depending on what it is. But so knowing your why is very important anyway.
It is indeed.
At what stage would you sit down with them and discuss goal setting?
It's a good question, because for me, goal setting is not I don't look at goal setting as a project, or not a project. Maybe project's not the right word, but I don't look at goal setting as a task.
Okay.
All right. Because the way I look at goal setting for an individual, for a person, is it's a process. Because in the beginning, it's similar to their why. Most people don't really understand what their why is. So once they start to identify what their why is, the possibilities of goals changes. The window of opportunity expands now for them, because their understanding is different. So for me, it's not about, okay, let's sit down and write down your goals for these different areas of your life and all that. And that works, for the majority of people. But I just feel, for me, it's more comfortable to work with people and say, okay, we know what your why is now. And through that why, we're going to start to identify what the goals could look like.
Yeah.
Because the why is the big picture. That's the end goal. So let's deconstruct it, so to speak. And the deconstruction process, at least for me, that is working with them. So and communicating with them, continuously communicating and finding out smaller things about them, because then these goals start to come to the surface. And I suggest to them, I say, have you ever considered something like this? Due to through conversation, and then that becomes a new goal for my client. With me.
Okay. So what about any form of planning? Would you make some killer planning form at all, or does it depend on who you're talking to, when you talk to them, and
it depends on the character. It depends on the personality.
Okay.
Yeah. If somebody is let's say like a certain disposition where they like to plan, they like to have things in front of them and written down in advance and things and so forth, then that's something that I will do. Most people, I find that it's too much information for them, but that's for me as a personal trainer, because for me, and I say personal trainer because you use that example, but even with everything else that I'm doing with people, a lot of people still look at me as a personal trainer first and foremost. Okay. And I get that. I understand that. So with the planning, it's too much information for them. They have a lot of changes happening within their life around them. The planning, if they want to do the planning, then we integrate that into their program. But otherwise, I let people just try to experience what the change is going to happen, what changes are going to happen.
I think, yeah, because the planning is twofold, isn't it? One, they may not be involved in the planning at all, because you can just say, look, this is what I want you to do today. So it could be that they're following a plan, but they don't know it. Depends how the trainer works, I suppose.
It does. And also like for me, if I'm going to go, like I had a client just now, and I went to his house and I had an idea as to what I wanted to do with him. Okay. But I also get a feeling for what my client wants. I don't necessarily ask them what they want, because what they tell me what they want and what I feel they want are two different things most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go with an idea as to what I'm going to do, obviously, because that's my responsibility. But in the same breath, when I get there, plans may change depending on the mood of my client and what I get, what I feel, and what I see, and this is I think this is one of my strengths, though, Paul, is not everybody can do this, is my adaptability on my feet. Ability
on your feet. Being flexible, but still ending up with the same sort of result. So yeah, you've got with anything, you've got to have that degree of flexibility in there. It doesn't mean to say you're going to skimp on your dream or desire. It just means there's more than one way to get there.
True. And we've seen, how many companies have we seen now that are no longer existing because they were not flexible enough to be flexible.
Well, and also you've got to embrace change as and when you need it. So
100%, yeah. If not before.
Now you mentioned observing, and I in our business we call it having a review, but you would do your review based on the observations. Would that be fair?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So the other things we have to think about when we talk about getting started is overwhelm. Overwhelm, confusion. I would say the type of trainer you probably are, you probably wouldn't even have to entertain that, because you would have taken that into account. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
But someone like a business person would have to be careful when they were talking about overwhelm and confusion, because some people don't know what to do next, or some people try and do too much at once or in a day, and you end up being ineffective. I knew that when I was training as an athlete, and same in business as well, is the fact that if you have scattered thinking, you end up spinning plates, getting confused, running from one plate to the other, getting overwhelmed. And because we've discussed this a lot, and we both are on the same wavelength, and we like 1, 2, 3, go. We like because 1, 2, 3 means we're not going to give that person more than 3 things to do in that day.
100%.
And hopefully these 3 things all interlink, so they don't feel like you're doing 3 separate things. That's the key to everything. But when you train with someone, you start immediately. The action part of it's immediate.
And even if it's anything else that I've done in the past as well, in any area of where I've been professionally around the world, is like, you get started, you must go. It's time to get moving now. And it doesn't, as I said, it doesn't really matter how fast or how slow you go. The most important thing is that you are going.
I wrote something down here. Hang on. I wrote something down. Exactly that, about the speed.
Okay.
I can't find it. It might be on the notes I left at home. I like to quickly make a few bullet points on something. But yeah, oh no, here it is. Slow burner. I call it.
Okay.
Slow burner. You get people that make a lot of noise. They come in, the best thing since sliced bread. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, and within a very short space of time, they're just gone. They're gone.
Fizzle out.
They've gone in the witness protection program. They've gone go and hide, and because they've shot their mouth off basically, and it's when you haven't done it, it becomes quite embarrassing. And but that's.
And you get that in every field. You get that in every field. They just look different. And I'm sure that anybody that's listening to this will be able to identify with somebody in their professional world that fits that bill at some point. Not necessarily now, but if you have enough experience, I'm pretty sure everyone's experienced somebody like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I said about slow burner. For me, it was about. I'll give you an example. When I was training on at Crystal Palace, we were training twice a day on the national stadium. I would walk first. It really used to cheese people off. They go, "Well, we're ready to go," and I mean, "No, I'm doing it my way. Walk first. Walk half a mile. Just a couple of laps." And I said, "Then I'll be ready to jog." And I'm mentally loosening up.
Yeah.
Focus and visualize and whatever you're going to do, because they've already told us what we're going to do for the day. So,
okay.
Yeah. So, what was the other thing? Oh, yeah. Do you ever get people? I mean, it depends what you're training people for, but as general personal training, probably this doesn't apply. But if you had an elite person, which I know you've done the Olympics and that, so do you get people to visualize?
Paralympics, visualization all the time. I start. What I like to do is I start off with people visualizing the exercises that they're doing. So because this is in action, so we're taking action now. So I don't get them to start thinking about pictures of who they want to be and all that kind of stuff yet. I start to get them, because most people are not used to doing that. They do it subconsciously. They visualize subconsciously. They're not visualizing consciously.
Yeah.
And if they are visualizing consciously, they're not necessarily visualizing about positive, happy stuff. So they pick something that is really, they would let's say you're talking about a client that wants to lose fat. So they'll pick a picture that is not realistic because, again, they haven't been able to create something themselves. So they find a picture in a magazine or something like that. And this is why people have them, because they can't think of something for themselves because they're not used to doing something like that. Okay, that's called conditioning. It's their subconscious that's thinking that way. So when I start with visualizing with my clients, I get them to visualize the movements first in their head while they're doing the exercise. You with me? So while they're actually doing the exercise, I'm getting them to picture what they're doing. And this, in the long run, will actually help them in many ways, in more ways than one. I won't go into the other ways right now, but one of those is to help them to get used to the idea of visualizing a vision for themselves in the future. So it gets them used to practicing, and it's a positive input all the time because they're doing something positive, it's active, and they are visualizing at the same time. So they're using all their senses. They're using all their learning senses, their learning modalities, and then get them to visualize their future.
Yeah, I think visualization. I think if you're a person who watches athletics, watch the high jump. There's a classic example. You'll see a classic example of someone visualizing. Yeah, you can see them do it. You can physically see them do it, and you know what's going on in their mind. It's all about technique and the run up and the speed of the run up and taking off in the right place and just doing it in the right way. And that's the best example I can think of the top of my head.
Another good one is a kicker in rugby, rugby union, because in rugby union they're kicking from any angle of the field, and you see them visualize. They look down, they see the ball traveling. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah.
And then they come back and
they've already seen that in their own mind, and that's what what's his name, Owen Farrell. You watch him do it. Because I'm watching England a lot, so he's got a set thing. He's done it. Always done it. He's always done exactly the same thing, and he's visualizing getting that ball through the posts. He doesn't. They don't even think about it, and he very rarely gets it wrong. That's the amazing.
His success rate is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's one of the best, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
The thing is that
it was Grant Fox. Was he a kicker?
Oh, Grant Fox from New Zealand. He was a massive kicker.
Yeah. That's who I remember as well. So,
the best. I mean, the best kickers of all time really are like your Andrew Mertens, Dan Carter, Percy Montgomery. Yes.
I've got a better average than them now.
And if you look at how their routines are and their practices, this is another key thing, is that, with visualization, you can create a routine in your head, even physically, where you go through a motion for yourself and you see yourself, and that starts to build up more. We've spoken about this in previous podcasts, where you feel your body changing, you feel your cells starting to wake up and things like that. And that's that's when, from a visualization perspective, you're on the way to creating something for yourself.
Yeah. So what I was going to say was, I've got a better average in all of those.
Why is that?
Because I've only ever taken one kick and it went over. So the fact that they've done thousands has got nothing to do. I've still got a better average. So the second thing I want to talk about is getting started. Is when you're moving on from that, and you've got skills that come from practicing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, visualization is a big part of that as well. But what I'm saying is, and the two sports that just came to mind when I was thinking about it were golf and basketball. Those were the two sports that really, and I know they all do. I'm not decrying any other sports.
You could say cricket in the same vein as well. Cricket.
Yeah, absolutely. But the ones that just initially came to mind were golf, because golf, when it's played at its best, and I watched some of the US Masters.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, it's unbelievable what they can do with a golf ball. It's just, and it's it's hours and hours and hours of practice. And the other thing is they know the course as well, because they've got the caddy there who tells them everything. Yes, it's how many yards. It's got a slight slope here and all this, But skills and practice, and the other thing is the old basketball. Now, in theory, it may not be as technical as golf, but in sheer amount of times they do it, it's right up there, because they'll practice hundreds of free throws every day and things like that, and from all different distances and angles. And
I played hooker when I finished playing rugby. I was a hooker. So I used to throw in. Okay. And I used to just stand and just place targets. I'd place targets at different heights, depending on where I wanted to throw into the line out. And I'll just throw. And I'll just throw. And I'll just throw. And I'll just throw. That's all I did. And I'll just keep throwing until something happened that, I had to stop. But that's a necessity. Yeah. It's just repeating that same habit over and over and over and over and over and over again, and therefore increasing the skill. Yeah.
And the same goes in sales, because we've been doing a bit of business stuff and sales stuff, and it's important that you find, let's say, salesman needs to talk. So none of us like the snake oil people, the people who try and talk you into sale. We don't go down that route. We never will do. But you do need to know what to say and what questions to ask. And sometimes you need to practice that to make it natural. And it's not about catching people out. You want people to do what they want to do.
True.
Maybe you just need to guide them a little bit, but in the end, they'll make the decision themselves, but again, it's skill and practice there.
And even if you don't have the skill yet, and I learned this when I was doing sales in the fitness industry. Yeah, and I hated it. I hated it. If there's one job and I don't use the word hate, I really don't. But this job, I just did not enjoy going to work every day. And but one thing I learned is that it doesn't matter whether you get it wrong or right, because the person on the other side of the phone or sitting in front of you, they don't know, they have no clue what you're talking about to start off with. They just want to know a couple of things, and that's all they want to know. So they have no idea. So if sales is what you're doing, and you're new to the game, just get practicing. Just practice.
Which brings us on to number 3, which is communication. Now, you've mentioned it already. very, very important. Communication in every walk of life, every
Mm.
job, and we see a few excellent people when it comes to communication. We see a lot of awful people when it comes to communication, especially in so-called leadership. And I found, like, when I was at in the police and things like that, and I've seen it in shops even, with the managers. That they ain't got a clue how to speak to people or how to get them to do anything. It's just orders, And I found that in the police, and there was really not that many people that knew how to talk to people.
Well, who teaches you that, really? You go,
You don't get taught. No, you don't get taught it. You just don't. You don't.
Even if you go to hotel school, they don't really teach you how to really deal with people properly. Not properly.
You get taught the law and procedure in the police.
No, police, of course, actually,
yeah. Law and procedure. That's it. The rest is down to you.
Yeah, the police, that's key. I mean, every single police officer, in my opinion, should be going through a kind of communications, not just surface communication either.
Communications as a subject is huge.
Yeah, but I'm not saying surface communication. I'm talking about deep understanding psychology communication with people. You need to know how to deal with people when you burst through that door, and what words to be using with people to calm them down as quick as possible.
Yeah.
So
I can't go into it. All I would say is I can't talk about the psychology I used on here. Anyway, one tip for everyone: get a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Very good book.
It's one of the most important books you will ever get to read. Let me give you a little sample. One of the things that says you never criticize, condemn, or complain. Now, does that mean that I haven't done that? Yes, I have. Okay. But what I'm saying is, if you've got a team like I had in the police, and that when you're talking down to people, it did border on criticism when I was talking to them, but they could have the biggest friend in the world to follow up on it, because I would then sit down with, we'd have a cup of coffee and we'd go through it all, and but so I had to work on the top end bit,
Look, it's in different industries, it's going to be, your approach is going to be different, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be. If you're in the trucking or the oil rig business, you're not going to be soft and cuddly with people when you're communicating with them and you're telling them that they're doing a below subpar job. You're going to be hard on them, because that's the nature of the game. That's the beast. When you're working in a sales environment, salespeople, you need them to be happy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You need them to be productive. You need them to feel like they are being rewarded, or they are being appreciated by whoever's leading them. And that's the nature of the game, because they're the ones that are bringing the money into your company, whatever that company is. So sales forces, that's a key industry. Personal training, like I used to manage more than 20 trainers before in a gym, and sometimes you have to be hard with trainers, and some trainers you can, other trainers you try to be hard on them, and you end up people going into witness protection. Like you mentioned, you brought it up earlier, and this is, again, it's the nature of the game. It's the nature of the beast in the fitness and industry, and that, because personal trainers, some have big egos, many don't.
Yeah.
But also many personal trainers are prima donnas, and many aren't. So you have to.
It's in the muscles.
Oh, I mean, I've witnessed. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I've witnessed enough times trainers posing in front of the mirror while their client is.
That's what I mean. That's exactly what. Yeah, but I think things like the whole game that I see, it doesn't matter what game you're in. It's about being happy. It's about being honest, being in integrity, and have ethics and morals and things like that within business, if you're doing that, or sports or whatever. Now we know none of us get it right, at the beginning. But there's things you learn, but you've got to have a smile on your face. It's like with sales, smile on your face, nice handshake, be polite, but genuine. Genuine
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
lot of it. Be enthusiastic, but not over the top, you know. And as I say, they made a thing here, and I'm just saying, you know, if you're talking about coach to athlete, you know, or personal trainer to client, or it could be entrepreneur to a newbie, could be training as well. You've got to always put yourself back in their position.
Always, if it's
Always,
possible. If it's possible.
because if you've advanced on, you need to know how it feels, right, to be speaking to someone who knows what they're talking about, and you don't know anything. You know, it's like, so just bear that in mind. You know, so and that will lead on to the next thing, which is simplicity. Now, this is huge when we're talking about, you know, this heading, the new secret to getting ahead. Now, all these 4 things we've said here are all things that we should have known for many, many years. Unfortunately, simplicity is one of those things that a lot of people don't follow, and it has to be simple. This is especially in 2021, the way things are at the moment, the fact about the hurried society, the nanosecond culture, you know, and all that. You need simplicity, and that
nanosecond culture.
Yeah,
I don't think I've heard that
Yeah.
term yet.
that's one of my favorite things, nanosecond culture. But
No, you're right.
so we
Oh,
go
that
back,
really
we
came
go
up with
back to 1, 2, 3. Okay,
Mhm.
imagine starting someone from a new business. It is so easy to overwhelm them,
Mhm.
right? You need to give them clear instructions, simple instructions, and they go at the end of it, they go, "Oh, is that it?" Yeah, because that's how easy it is.
Yeah.
Right? And the other thing is, whatever you do, an 8-year-old child should be able to understand it, right? Within reason.
Yeah.
You get what I'm talking about? The
Yeah.
language has to be simple. You know, I think that's very, very important. You know, and again, within business, we talk about onboarding, which is getting started, and we're talking about talking to new people. You know, they need to bear in mind, if you speak to them simply, and that's not because they're simple, I don't mean that, but if you speak to them in easygoing terms, something that's easy to understand, then they'll do the same when they repeat what you're doing. Yeah, they don't need.
That's called
There's a
duplication.
million and one things out there. They don't need all of that crap. What they need is something to get going. 1, 2, 3.
And
Whilst the 1, 2, 3, you can do that pretty quickly actually, and then move on to 4, 5, 6. You know, but
and a supporting hand and arm, which
absolutely, yeah,
which can lead us to the secret.
yeah. Now we get to the secret, all right, and this is a biggie, and that is giving. Okay, now you could go in 100 different directions with this. Okay, but
well, each previous part we've spoken about touched on giving in any case.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but you give of yourself. You give your time. You give your expertise. You know, you give guidance, give coaching. Okay, give money if that's what you're talking about. Give them time.
Yeah,
so you've
time is the most valuable resource.
Sometimes you have to be prepared, or quite a lot of time actually, be prepared to give your time, let's say, right, with no expectation of a return from that person
Or those people.
or those people. Okay, you know it's going to come back to you at some stage in some way. It could be that because of the type of person you are, someone else who's far more advanced than you takes you under their wing and starts coaching you or me or Warren. You know, that is your reward. But I don't help John Smith down the road with a view to him helping me later. That's the wrong way to do it.
Then you're trading.
It's horse trading.
Then you're trading, yeah.
And they don't even know you're trading.
That's
and that's the problem. And I'll give you a classic example of how this works. years ago I'm trying to think now. What year? 2007. I was in another business. It was high sales. Okay. And as a caveat to that, high sales are just as easy as low sales. Okay. Doesn't matter about the amount of money. It's we'll talk about that later. But anyway, there's a fellow called Michael Oliver. And he teaches people in network marketing, and of the I can't think of his name of his book, but he had a book and tapes and things like that. Now I got on his email list, and he taught me over a whole year so much stuff for nothing.
Wow.
Okay, so when it came time to buy something, right, I didn't think about him at first, but I thought, I know who I'll buy from. I'll buy from him. All right? Because he'd give me all his free stuff, and I just needed something to top it off. So I spent my money with him. And that's how it should be. Because he deserved my, order.
But the mere fact that he gave all of that wisdom and knowledge to you in the first place, by the mere act of doing that, and I'm sure he understands this too, is that he will get back in more than tenfold of what he gave.
Yeah.
And especially in that time frame, if he worked for you for an extended period of time and gave you everything like that, that you allude to, then I'm sure he would have got back so much more as a result.
I picked up so much in that year, before I even thought about purchasing anything. He didn't ask me. He never asked me to buy either. He never asked me to buy. It was just a natural course of events, really.
Okay.
So yeah, but giving, I mean, there's millions. There's millions of ways you can give. You've done it, haven't you?
Yes.
You told me things that you've done. So, what was one of those you told me?
One of those that I told you.
I think you paid for something.
Yeah, I mean, I used to, back in South Africa, they have the toll gates on the motorways that you drive through. So I would sometimes pay for the car behind me, or pay for somebody behind me in the shopping line at the cashier. If I saw somebody had a couple of small items, I might just pay for their bill. And so I've done this, and I know people that have done it in restaurants. Just randomly paying for somebody's food bill. Other things that I've got. I mean, the most precious thing that I've ever given is my time, in my opinion. This time is, honestly, it never comes back, right? So we can never take it back. And I've given people of my time many times, and just mentored people, and they didn't even ask for it. I just, people just, they came to me asking questions. I didn't go force myself upon a complete stranger, go, hi, I'm going to be your new friend, and then I'll become their mentor. No, but these people would come to me and just ask me questions regularly, and then I just kind of, I help people out in many ways.
Yeah.
And I like to do that, and it feels good to be able to do that. And I when somebody actually trusts you enough to ask you for help, because this is key as well. If you have the opportunity to give because somebody's asked you for your help, wow, they trust you enough to ask you. Yeah. So,
I had the same thing with a lady. She was someone in business, and she didn't know anything about being online. She wanted to do certain things, but she said it looks like a mountain to climb. Because in our line of work, you can be a dunce one minute and an expert the next. So, but yeah, I sat down with her. And I said, "Well, do you want to do this?" And she went, "Yes, I do, but I'm not gonna do it in its present format because it's just daunting." So I went away and worked on an hour and a half, whatever it was. I can't even remember now. And I did a 1 to 11. I think it's 1 to 11 points. So, okay. And then next day I took her through it, and just so that it came across. I was just use it as a teaching example and things like that. And she said at the end of it, she went, "Oh, isn't that easy?" Yeah, because I talked about I became the either the white or the green person. I looked at it logically and went through it step by step, and I can do that occasionally, but be the
yeah, we all can.
wanting to know all the details. We're talking about colours, by the way. So
we're referring to colours. Yeah,
we're into that at the moment. So just a quickie. The reds are the alpha male, the ones that go for it, and the blues are the one I want to help people. The whites, as we're dealing with at the moment, not greens, but they're the same. The whites are the ones who want it. They want to know everything before they make a decision. Okay, and that's fine. And the yellows like to have fun. That's the simple version that's the simple way of doing it.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it, but I mean, that's basically it.
Yeah, if you know that, then you can work from there when you're communicating with people.
Yeah, we're similar. We're blues.
Mm-hmm.
We like to help people, but we have red. We've got red going in and out of the blue
periodically.
Yeah, periodically. Yeah. So yeah, we're everyone's got ego, but I suppose we're ones that we don't have much. Just don't. It's not the way I am, But anyway, that's it. So getting started, skills and practice, communication, simplicity, and the biggest one of the lot is the art of giving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
that's the key.
We can all do it, whether it's helping a neighbour across the road or helping someone maybe sitting outside of McDonald's who hasn't got something to eat. Maybe just go and buy them a burger or something. I don't know. They're not in a position to help you, and that's how it should be. So giving's the big one.
It is.
Yeah. So it's a bit different this today, what we've done.
It is a bit different. It's a little bit more philosophical, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it ended up that way. At least it wasn't planned that way. We just had the subject matter. We wanted and talk about the points. But look, in saying that, a bit different and being philosophical. If after listening to this talk, however long you've been listening for, if you listened for it in its entirety or not, if you haven't, I strongly advise that you do go back and listen to the points that we speak about. But if this kind of point of view and on the world and business and life rings with you and it feels good for you, then let's chat. Let's have a conversation and see where it takes us. Who knows? Because this is what Paul and I do. We do business with people. We do business with other people, many other people, and we like to work with people that resonate with us. Not exactly the same as us. We want different types of characters and individuals working with us, but we want people that resonate with us. And if what we've spoken about today resonates with you and it feels like, hey, that sounds cool, that sounds easy, then reach out to Paul or myself, because then we can sit down, have a coffee and have a chat and just see where it takes us.
Absolutely. Fantastic. All right, well, we're done for today, and I wish you a very successful week and a happy week.
Happy week.
Smile on your face, so you can deal with those negative things with a smile on your face. All right.
Smile like a Cheshire cat.
No, not that. So, anyway, have a great week, and we'll be back on Friday at 4:00 London time, 5:00 Budapest time, with healthierlife.tv. So
we will indeed. And look out for the notifications on Facebook and elsewhere.
Yes, absolutely. See you later.
Bye.